just reaching up. And pulling down. And up and out. And turning the head. Clasping the hands behind the back. And rotating the head, but one at a time. So go clockwise. And then at the bottom, change direction. So just change direction each time you finish one. Bring the hands around to prayer again. Just pausing a sec. And then the hands behind again, but clasping the elbows. And again, rotating the head in the same way, so one at a time. And now let's lean forwards on this position. And then squeezing back up. And then to the left. And back up. Then to the front again. And up. And to the right. And up. And to the front again. And up. And then the hands into prayer again. And then the hands, the palms on the lower back, so either side of the spine. And just feel the hands on the back, almost like they're like a corset that's tight and that squeezes you into this erect, correct posture. So you have to pull the elbows and the shoulders back. And now it's just rotate the head again in the same way. So one way and then the other. And then just feel the spine, how straight it is. If anything, it's leaning back. And then just bring the hands round into holding the golden urn. So the elbows are in. It's as though your elbows are pushing into the same place that your hands were. So the hands are trying to move outwards, but the elbows are trying to pull towards each other. So there is movement all the time. We don't want to freeze in a posture. We want to keep the forces flowing. And then keeping the left arm as it is, just bring the right arm underneath and grab the left hand with the right hand and just pull like you're pulling down, like we did with the stick a few weeks ago, just to get this twist in the left arm stronger. And then back to here. And then the left arm comes underneath the right. So elbow to elbow, but with the left arm underneath, and then just bring, left arm, and then bring the left hand up and wrap it over the right wrist and try and pull the right arm down to the right. And another couple. So from here, you sort of bring the left arm in and then right arm underneath and just hook it over the left wrist or the left hand. And then one more on the other side. So from here, so bring the right arm in, left arm underneath, and hook it over and twist. If you do a series of these, it's amazing just how much more flexibility you get in that shoulder. And then the left arm, just bring it right across and bring the right arm up and pull, using your right arm, just pull your left arm, stretch it out of the shoulder. That's it. Then the other side. And then the one where we try and clasp the hands like this, but behind the back. So bring the left arm up the spine and then the right hand over and just grab the fingers and use your head to sort of push your right arm back. And then the other side. And then the arms or the hands into prayer again. And then up and out, turning one hand over and turning the head. And then just gradually bring the hands towards each other. So effectively a figure of eighting, so the figures of eights grow until we're just doing the figure of eight exercise. But keep them quite big. Feel like you're getting underneath your bum at the bottom and over your head with the top. And just let them get longer. So when you go up, just really reach up with the hand. So it's effectively reaching up and like pulling in the rope, but keeping the figure of eight going. There's much movement in the head and the spine as you can get. And then just let the top of the figure of eight drop down. So now you're reaching forwards, but you're still figure of eighting. And then to the side. And then just reduce it. And now let's try the strong twist. So one arm behind, other hand on the opposite knee, and working yourself around. And then come out of it slowly, and the other side. And then back to prayer. And now let's try breathing. So the two types of breathing, the natural breathing and the reverse breathing. So first, the natural. So breathing in, letting the torso expand, and then breathing out, and the torso contracts. So your volume is changing. You become more voluminous, and that pulls air in, and then you become less, and it pushes the air out. Feel the belly really pulling in at the end of the out breath. And then that relaxes, and then the chest really lifts and expands for the end of the in breath. And then that relaxes. And then just back to prayer for a moment. And now just breathe in from here. And then breathe out. And just feel like you're just letting everything out, including the air. And then you gather everything in. So you're breathing in, but you're also pulling your arms in and your belly in. And then you're breathing out. So they call it prenatal breathing. So imagine you've got the umbilical here and you're sucking nutrients from the mother, including oxygen, and breathing in with your nose at the same time. And then you're squirting it all out, all the waste products and the air from the nose as well. Pulling the belly in, breathing in, pushing the belly out, breathing out. So the pressure really increases as you breathe in because the volume is effectively decreasing. And then you just release and it will explode out. This is how we tend to breathe when we're doing something that's physically strenuous. So athletes, the javelin thrower will scream as he lets the javelin go. So he's obviously breathing out. So the in-breath is like gathering and storing the energy, and then the out-breath is the release of the energy. Okay, we're just back to prayer. And then the pronation, supination with the hands and the arms. So this that we did earlier, holding the golden urn, is effectively supinating with both hands. So both hands palm upwards. And then pronation is just turning them over, bringing the elbows up. So that's more like ward off. And the palm is facing down. So we just want to alternate them. Yeah, so we're just twisting the hand around the middle finger. So just going from one extreme to the other. So as you repeat and the whole thing smooths a bit, it just becomes two figures of eights. And that's what the figure of eight is really. It's just alternating pronation, supination. So it's an important level of activity. So the basic activity of the arm or the leg is straightening and bending. But as it does so, we also want it to twist. So this is the spirals of Tai Chi. It's like a higher harmonic. It's like an added detail. It just makes all the difference, really. And the muscles just love working like this. They love twisting. And then just gradually increase it until you're figure basing for the heart. And feel that activity getting into the heart. So really get the shoulders going. Yeah, the two sides are sort of playing with each other. So it's a dance, but we'd like the dance to be a three-step, a waltz, rather than a march. So you just count threes to yourself. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, because that's the rhythm of the heart. This is why the waltz is so uh, enlivening in a way, in a light, playful way. Whereas when you hear a march, you just want to goose step down the street. So it's naturally fascistic. And this is just a playful dance. And then gradually reduce the size. So it's like the cavity that it's contained within tightens, and let it just work its way down, like there's a tunnel or a spiral staircase that you're working down until you get into the belly. And now the mood is quite different. It's no longer a dance. This is the dungeon, the dark dungeon. And then let it work its way up against the heart. And just feel how it lightens. But this is the ballroom with the a small orchestra playing the waltz and all these beautiful couples swirling around, enjoying themselves. And then let it work its way up into the head, so as though it's having to squeeze up through the throat. And then it just fills the head cavity, but with all this swirling. So the eyes go a bit funny. You start to feel like you're going a bit crazy. And then just reach up and pulling down to our meditation posture. And then just feel those centers. So you've got your gravitational center, which is your lower dantian, which is sort of pulling into itself. So it's like the hands are sort of gravitating towards each other. The more the hands pull towards each other, the more the shoulders try and pull away from the neck and the heart. So a contraction here produces an expansion here. And then just feel the head. So we just want the head to basically be open, the mind to be open, just feel like it's expanding. And just going as far as you can see. As far as you can imagine. And now let's just bring the hands to that place they were at the beginning, so just the back, and just feel how this really helps this just open up. So any thinking will just tighten the mind and pull it back into the head. We just want this feeling that there's no real distinction between our mind and the mind, the cosmos, really, the field of consciousness. We can just bleed in and out of it. And then just bringing the hands back round here and just want it to feel pretty much the same. So still feel the hands on your back, even though they've come round to the front. And now let's try the peripheral vision exercise. So just fixing the eyes and letting the hands drift back so that you can barely tell that they're hands with your eyes. You just see this movement and a bit of brightness of the flesh. And then up and and then they curl down between the eyes and just form prayer posture, touching your face, and just split the eyes so your left eye sees to the left, your right eye sees to the right, so they don't overlap anymore. And then slowly bring the hands down. And then again. Down. And remember, it's Tai Chi, so everything comes from the lower body. Now, here we're sitting, so the legs aren't really active. So we have to get everything coming from lower back, belly. So just try and get this machine operating to make the arms move. So I'm doing something, you're twisting and turning, so it's always alternating a little bit. One hand pulls, then the other. And the energy is just squeezing up the torso and into the arms. And down. And then one more. So again, just one at a time. So get one going and then get the other one going. And down. And then one at a time, pulling the thread from the top of the head. The hand drifts out into the peripheral vision. And I bring it up, just about see the hand. So even when I lose the hand with my eyes, there's still a picture of the hand inside my head. I'm seeing the hand dropping down onto the head, but in my mind's eye. So when the mind works, we'd like it to work in images rather than words. So out. And then it disappears, but it's as though you still see it. We want a mind that can just build images readily, rather than the mind that puts words together readily. Good. And now let's go through those points, remember that set of points down the center line of the body. So just touching them, we don't have to do all this sort of pulling out the energy. It takes too long. So it's with your right, whichever arm you want to use. So using the middle finger, just send the hand out, like we've just done. And then let it just drop down onto the head and just touch that point where you drew the energy up from. So the crown of the head. Just want to touch it and just feel the presence of the finger, just feel that tingle as you touch, and then lift it. And now the fontanelle, remember the soft spot on the baby's head, and then lift it again. And now your hairline at the top of your forehead, and then the middle of the forehead, the third eye. And you can just pause on these as long as you want until you really get a feeling for them. And then the bridge of the nose, so between the eyes. And then like halfway down the slope of the nose where there'd be a lump if you'd broken it at any point. And then the very tip of the nose. And then the top of the upper lip where it joins the nose. And then the bottom of the upper lip. And then the point between the lips where they touch. And then the bottom of the bottom lip, where it sort of starts to become the chin. And then the hollow, the sort of the line here. And then the dimple. And then the point of the chin, where it juts out most, a little bit under that. And then back, where the skin of the chin joins the throat. It's probably higher than it is at our age. And then the Adam's apple. So if you hum or speak or sing, you can really feel the buzz from the vocal cords in your fingers. And then down to the sternal notch, so the soft bit just above the bone, the hollow. And then down to the thymus, so just there's a sort of lumpy ridge at the top of the sternum. And then down to the mid-heart. And then down to the deep heart between the nipples, so the very bottom of the sternum, the xiphoid cartilage. And then down to the solar plexus. And then quite a long way then down to the navel. And then the Dan Chen, inch or so beneath the navel. And now you have to imagine this is sort of down to the pubic bone, top of the pubic bone. And then right underneath to the perineum. And there's always a little grip in the perineum, like there's a little bit of tone and tension. And then just bring it to prayer again. And just feel all those things, everything we've worked on. So the hands on the back, there's always that feeling that you've got this sort of corset on that's supporting your spine. And then all these points, the breathing, the figure of eighting in each of the centers. It's all there. Okay. And then let's just try a bit for the legs. So first of all, just straightening the legs. And just feel just how much closer you actually just feel to the ground having removed the cushion. Just that little cushion makes a big difference. And a bit in the butterfly. And then kneeling. cramp. And then the fetus. Stretching the spine and inclining. Up. Separating the feet a bit so you can sit down between them. Just feel that stretch in the quads. Feel the kidneys. So effectively this feeling the hands on the back. And then down into the fetus again. Up, lying back. And pulling the knees up with each hand. And up and apart until your sacrum just rolls off the mat a bit. And then just keep breathing and let the sacrum slowly settle back down without the knees really pulling back. And then straighten the the right leg down, really pointing the toes and pull the left knee up towards your left shoulder. Keep the straight leg straightening. And then swap the legs around, pull one up, and then let the other one down. That's safer. Really straighten the left leg and pull the right knee up. And then pull the knee up, send the other one down. And now pulling the left knee out to the left, so to the side. You'd like to get it flat. So it's really opening the groin there. Just breathe. And then pull the knee up and send the other leg down. And then just pull the right leg out to the right. So you just hold it long enough for the leg to feel like it's happy where you put it. And then bring the other knee up and straighten the right leg. And now pulling your left knee towards your right shoulder. So this is more difficult. And then bring the other knee up and straighten that left leg. And then just pulling that right knee towards your left shoulder, or beyond the left shoulder, really. And then pull the other knee up and straighten the right leg. And now pulling your left knee across to the right side, so across the right leg, and turning the head the other way. So the hip comes off the ground, but you want the shoulders to stay flat. So you have to turn the head, otherwise that left shoulder will come off. And then bring it back up, pull the right knee up, send the left leg down, and then the right hand on the outside, sorry, left hand on the outside of the right leg, right knee, and pull it down to the left. Then back up. And now bring the left knee up as well as the right, and again, just pulling them up and out away from each other. And then a little bit of cycling, trying to get that pocket in the groin open. And then it's round into the squat. Okay, so let's start with that bouncing. The mind in the sacrum and the hips, just aiming to get this spreading, widening. And alternating. And we're just gradually increasing the width of the feet. So every now and then just step out a little bit. And then let the heel come up. So the arm that comes forwards, that heel comes up just a little bit. Just getting this alternating heels. So we want this feeling there's only really one heel on the ground at any one time. So as one goes down, the other one comes up. And then gradually just slow it down. And it just becomes the moving from side to side. So I sink into one leg and heel, and the other one can come up. So what we want to get into is just really delaying the heel actually going down to touch the floor. So I'm coming into this leg, but I try and keep my heel up as long as possible. And then when it goes down, the other one really pops up. And then just moving from leg to leg. Now just really trying to straighten the leg. This feeling that the straightening leg is driving me into the bending leg, sort of adding to my weight. Then just into riding horse. So let's just stand just for a few seconds with the hands on the back where they were when we were sitting down. And then bringing the hands round to this. So it should feel pretty much the same, like your elbows are pushing forwards, and that is actually where the hands were. And then without adjusting your posture much, just round the arms out into ward off. But just feel how difficult this is to stop it from slumping you forwards. You really have to feel the lower back strong. And feel the legs. So the supination in the thighs, which is tending to want to roll the thighs like this and send the knees out. So that's this. And then the pronation in the shins, in the lower leg, which is tending to make the toes want to come towards each other, which is this. So the fingers pulling towards each other, but also the toes, but the knees wanting to go out, which is the golden urn. So it's all contained in this one posture. And then coming off the heels and into the animal. So now the elbows drop. So this is closer to the bone, if you like. It's closer to the center. So it's really up in the thighs and the belly now. Just try and get low, but really push the heels up. So the foot has to be strong, the feet. And then just putting the heels down one at a time, but stay off them as long as you can. I come across and I decide when the heel goes down. I let it down gently. As soon as it hits the ground, I get sucked into the ground. And now keep this one up as long as you can. And then, ooh, it goes down. And then the other one comes back up. So I'm figure of eighting now, but with these alternating heels and just trying to put the heel down at the last moment. So my weight really comes into the leg before I let the heel down. It just gives you a feeling that you're suspended most of the time, almost hovering off the ground. It's only really when the heel hits the ground that the root gets sucked right out and down. So I stay off the heel and then I let it down and then, ooh, it's gone right down. And this one has come up. And then just a bit of pulling in the rope. So now effectively the same thing is going on in the legs. So your weight is tracing this sort of a figure of eight, still trying to keep the heels up. But the energy is in the upper body. The weight is in the lower body. The energy is in the upper body. So as my left foot descends to establish its root, my right hand reaches out. Feel the pronation, supination again. So as you reach out, the pronation is going on. So the hand is twisting this way. And as you pull in, it's supinating. So it's this roll here. So as you get into the leg, well into the leg, this roll is actually rolling your sacrum down, pulling your bum in. So without that, the energy won't really properly get up from the ground. I want this feeling that my heel goes down and it's the energy gets squeezed up into this hand. So it's hard work, real hard work, physically as well as mentally, as well as concentration wise. The body is really working. Okay. And then back into riding horse, but now with the feet slightly closer. Again, it's just pause with the hands. It's like the sort of where the kidneys are, but also sort of on top of the hips. And I'm just helping my hips forwards and down. And now just going up and down, so bending the legs and then straightening the legs. Again, it's supination, pronation. So as I go down, my knees are rolling out, my thighs are twisting, and my arms are supinating my hands. And then as I push down, this is like the shin pronating. So pulling yourself down, the bum comes in, and then pushing yourself up without sticking the bum out, pulling down, and pushing up. Just feeling the sinking. So the constant in Tai Chi, the thing that's there all the time, is sinking. And we want sinking not simply to be bending the legs and getting closer to the ground, but a feeling that you're being pressed down constantly. There's a pressure, almost like you're wearing like a one of those long suits of chainmail that goes down to your knees. It's really heavy. So this is really difficult, pushing up against that. And then here you have to control the descent. So effectively, you're actually still straightening the legs. You're just bending them a little more than straightening them. And then here you're really straightening them. Just feeling that oppressive force that's driving you down there all the time. And then doing the Tai Chi, we want to feel the sinking not simply as a force that's driving down, but as like a viscosity in the medium that we're operating within. So every movement you're pushing against something. And it's really, so you really have to get into your legs just to get the force that's required to push your body. And if you find yourself suddenly speeding up, like I did just then, it's because the mind has wandered. Yeah, so the mind has to be just endlessly present to produce that resistance to the movement. Because it is all in the mind. And then when I let that resistance go, then I have real strength and speed. This is the rationale behind sinking. So pulling yourself down and then push. And now go down, but straighten the legs, but don't come up. Just let them slide past each other. So now turning, pulling yourself down, bending the legs, in other words, and now straightening the legs. And so when I bend the legs, I'm effectively trying to pull my feet towards each other, but particularly the back leg. So I'm really bending this one. Yeah, and then this one starts straightening, but instantly this one has to start straightening. Just feel that how it changes from bending to straightening. It's just seamless. It's as though it's doing the same thing all the way through. It's just working. Pull and push. Pull and push. So the back leg, which is going to become a front leg, pulls. And then as soon as you feel it's the front leg, you push with it. So now this is straightening and pushing this hip back. And that is squeezing the strength of the leg, the energy into the front hand. So the legs are not simply supporting a working body. They're pumping energy up into the upper body. So for that, this leg has to really straighten. And if I don't want to move, I have to really straighten this leg as well. And then I'll get an even stronger turn. So we're just trying to get the hips and the waist really turning. So, when we just exercise like this, we're just doing like the first warm-up exercise in a relaxed way. When you watch the person, it's basically the shoulders. The shoulders are turning like this, and this is just going along for the ride a little bit. Now we just want it coming from the ground, and it's really from here. It's really my hips that are being turned. My shoulders are just stay with the hips, so I can keep the upper body completely relaxed because this is coming from the ground, not from me swinging my arms around. I pull this leg, and then I push both legs. So I'm using this leg to straighten, but it's forcing this leg to also straighten. So I get this feeling of something coming from this leg into this hand. Just feel how your bum really has to be in the right place. If any sense of the bum sticking out, and the energy that's squeezing up from this leg will just go into the other leg. It won't come up into the upper body. So I really have to supinate to get my bum in. It's just a very active way of working. And you're almost getting angry. It's so damn difficult. We're so used to just letting the legs support our weight and bring us to some sort of stable stillness. This is the opposite. The leg is supporting me, but it's also driving up through me into the opposite hand. Pull and lean. Oof. And now, effectively, the second warm-up exercise, but again, trying to do it with a bit of power. So this leg twists, the foot twists, and that starts pulling me into it. And then this leg really drives me back into this leg so that I feel this leg pumping up into its opposite hand, pulling this foot round. And so the straightening leg is really driving you into the bending leg. And then the bending leg is trying not to bend too much, straightening against that and pushing up into the upper body. So I'm pushing myself into this leg, and then this leg is just feeding this hand. It's just lifting hands. Just feel it. Yeah, so when you're getting energy from the back foot, there's a sense of leaning forwards. Remember Young Chung Fu, when he's in lifting hands, he's like this. And when you're getting energy from the front leg, then your bum really has to be in. So there's a sense of leaning back with your upper back. So the posture is different depending upon whether you're in the back foot or the front. If you get the energy to come up into the upper body, you have to really keep the lid on the pressure cooker. So use the leg, one leg to drive into the other leg. But you have to really mean it as well. So pushing. And I'm okay. So let's bring it back to riding horse. So the hands here. Yeah, it's like we always need a little bit of help to get into the right posture. And then just bring the arms round. Yes, feel how the arms, in a sense, they're sort of destroying the posture because they're getting this to happen. So you really have to keep firm here to stop the heavy arms, this heavy structure here, pulling you forwards. And then just let's come off the heels again. So the body sinks down. So my knees bend, but my heels really push upwards. And I just enjoy the shake, the tremble, the danger, the risk. And down again, but one at a time, but really delay the heel going down if you've got the strength in the foot left. So stay off the heel and slowly it goes down. So everything's deliberate, controlled, but I'm always pushing myself to the edge of control, to that region where I'm barely in control, into the danger zone, basically. Ooh. Okay. And now let's try some of this one. Yeah, so this is really important. So everything, the pronating, supinating, the heels off the ground, it's all come from this really. So coming off the heel as you come into the foot. And then just the slow jog. Now, really single weight is like this liquid sloshing from side to side inside you. And let's just try a bit for the shoulders. Sinking into one side, the other side loosens. Just reach up as high as you can so you really pull the shoulder almost out of its socket. The other way. And then just 1 foot forwards now. And just backwards and forwards. Again, I want to feel the pronation, supination. As the leg straightens, it's as though the big toe is trying to come in and the little toe is really trying to go out. And then when I supinate, like when I bend the leg, I supinate. And that's the knee rolling out and the bum coming in. Pronation as you straighten, as you reach out. Supination as you bend the leg and come into it. But we want to work quite hard on this pronating, supinating. And the muscles then feel like they're not just these strips that tighten and stretch, that it's like they're wrapped around the bone in a spiral. And there's that quality of the muscle, the twisty quality. It's constantly working. So you've stretched the muscle around the bone, not just along the bone. It's twisting around the bone. That's the feeling. So I twist. Ugh. So as I pull into the leg, it's really twisting here, and that's the bum is being pulled in and the chest is being thrust upwards. So the legs are really working against each other. They're fighting endlessly. And without that, you won't get the energy from the legs into the upper body. The spiral muscle around the bone. When it tightens, it feels like it's sort of massaging the bone. It's sort of squeezing into the bone. So this is when they talk about packing the bone marrow. So densifying the bone by trying to pack as much energy into the bone as possible by squeezing it with this spiral sheath-like musculature. You can really feel it in the legs, but we want to get that into the spine, especially the lumbar spine. So this spiral in the leg is getting up into my back if my bum is in. Okay, and a bit with the other foot. Just get it going first. Feel the pulling and the straightening of the leg. And you just let it build up, so start getting it to twist a bit more. It's basically just the figure of eight. You're just doing this as you work. But it's really working. But the supination as you come into the leg is just really important. Otherwise, you'll hurt your knee. Yeah, so I need this feeling that the knee is going out, and then I can really get low in the leg without hurting myself. Same here. This knee has come in for the pronating. Then as I come forward, it's really rolling out like this. I'm almost coming off my foot. My foot is trying to turn to face the sole of the foot face up. That's supination, lying on your back. Okay. So let's just try a bit of this again, just to let everything loosen up a bit. So it's always tense. Yeah, but it's working. It's moving in and out of sort of tension and relaxation. And it's just that tension is just care. It's just mindfulness. If you had to be really vigilant and really listen, you'd be a little bit anxious, wouldn't you? So it's that sort of tension. It's not a stiff, locked tension. It's breathing. It's a lively tension. And it's a stretched tension. It's not a tension of a muscle that's pulled into itself. It's a tension of a muscle that's been stretched beyond itself. Now let's just bring the foot up, but getting into the leg with this supination. So as I pick my foot up and send the foot out, I'm effectively pronating. So if I do this with the hand, when we pull in the rope, twist the hand this way and then twist the hand this way when it comes in. That's the quality in the leg as well. So when I probe out with my foot, it's like the foot is trying to do this. The big toe goes down first, but the little toe feels like it's really extending. And then as I come into this leg, I pull with it. And I want to pull not so much by bending the leg, but with this twist. So I really twist the muscle around the bone. This is happening here. And as I come into the foot, my bum is just pulled right in and down into the leg. And I feel almost like I'm in the ground. Yeah, so we just want to really avoid looking down on what we're doing because then we never get in the ground. So I send this foot out, twisting the leg this way. And then it's like the little toe, little finger. It catches and pulls, and this is rolling, and that pulls my bum in. And then this foot can come up. So very much this feeling that you're sinking down your back, which is then allowing something to rise up your front. So little toe and twist. Extending out, little toe reaches and pull and twist the leg and let the bum really drive down into that heel. It's really hard work, this. The elbow, it's like my elbow is pushing this place where my hand was. It's really cutting in like this. Yeah. So it's really cutting down. And that's sending my sacrum down the leg. So reaching out. So this is our elbow up like this. And then I roll. And the elbow here just pushes my sacrum down and into the foot. And then this one can come up easily. And it's just a feeling that I'm deeper in the ground, so I'm just more stable without being dead. Roll. Again, just try to keep the heel up as long as you can. Seems counterintuitive. It seems like you get a better route if you get the heel down as soon as possible. But I want everything to come from this twisting. Yeah, so I keep this heel up and I just twist. And it's only really when I get driven into it by this elbow and this leg that I put it down. And then it is like a corkscrew. It's like you're twisting into the ground rather than just settling upon it. So I'm twisting, trying to keep this heel up, and then it goes down with a real twist. And then I just get into the ground more easily, like the corkscrew going into the cork. Out and twist. Keep the heel up and just feel it go down and penetrate instantly into the ground. And twist, heel up and ah. And now let's just lighten it up again, just with a bit of stepping. You know, just that exercise where we step forward, step back. And then the other leg out, twist as you come into it. And so just effectively figure of eighting, but really feeling the twist in the arm. So as you come under and up the figure of eight, you're supinating. And as you go over and down, you're pronating. Okay. So let's just bring it back to riding horse and finish. Again, first just get the hands on, like they're resting on top of the hip bones, helping it forward a little bit and down. Shoulders have to pull back. And then into the golden urn. It's the same thing, really. The elbows driving down and forwards are the equivalent to the hands here. And then just rounding out into war. Remember, like in Chen style, ward off is like this, with the palms facing out, the elbows really up. So it really is the opposite of this. Our ward off tends to be softer. Feel the supinating thighs and the pronating feet. And then the feet up. Don't let them straighten. There's a sense that your front of your leg, the muscles here are trying to straighten the leg, but the hamstrings are trying to bend the leg. That's difficult because we have to be able to activate the hamstrings rather than simply give in to gravity. So some part of my mind, so a really ruthless, determined part of your mind gets into the hamstrings and just tightens. And then you can feel that just sucking up from the ground. You can feel these muscles driving the heels into the ground. And then just always this sense that the legs are alternating. So walking as well as breathing. And that's going on all the time. And it's not a march. It's not this. It's like this sexy, swirly figure of eight that's getting all of this sort of sensuous energy flowing through the body. But as it comes up the left side, it goes down the right and vice versa. Yes, it's just a good exercise, just putting the mind in the hamstrings. Yeah, because we're just not used to it. And we spend a whole life keeping our energy in. And actually just to use the part of the body that will actually let your energy out with some spirit. It's just we're not used to it. So I just really have to get tone in my hamstrings.